I want to answer a question that I get all the time. Why do you learn so many languages? But my real answer is not the one people expected. I didn't learn languages because I'm smart. I learned them because I am not. I know you would be surprised why I give you this answer. So I will explain in this way because I get interested in one specific word, a word where you have to keep guessing what people really mean. So let me start from something embarrassing. When I was in China, my worst subject was history. And of course, yes, I know. I knew history was important. History is like a calibrator. It tells you where you are and who you are. But in middle school, I stopped understanding the textbooks. It was still words on paper, yet the meaning felt locked behind fog, and my grades dropped. And then I made a quiet conclusion that stayed with me for almost 20 years. Maybe I'm just not smart. Then something strange happened. Years later, I was learning French. I was struggling. I was learning slowly. I was feeling painful. And one day, out of nowhere, I could clearly tell the difference between American accent and British accent, which made no sense. I wasn't even studying English. But that moment hit me like a warning and also a relief. Maybe the problem wasn't my brain. Maybe it was the system I was trying to think inside, because language is not just vocabulary. Language is a way a society packages meaning. And my first language environment, especially the way people communicate, often felt like this: too condensed, too sharp, and it's full of hints, idioms, unfinished sentences. In many situations, people don't say things fully. You are expected to understand without being told. Some people are amazing at that, but to be honest, I am not. For me, constantly decoding hidden meanings is so tiring. It feels like working all day with your shoulders raised. So learning foreign languages became something else for me, not a skill. It's a survival tool. It's a way to breathe in a different mental atmosphere. And each language gives me a different hint. So the first is Japanese. When I learned Japanese, I noticed something immediately. The verb often comes at the end. So we have to keep listening until the very last moment in order to know what the person actually did. At first, I thought this is annoying. Then I realized this trains patience. It forces you to hear the whole sentence, the whole thought, not half a sentence and then you jump to the conclusions. It's impossible because you have to wait until the end. You stay with the speaker until the end. You don't pretend you understood when you only caught 50%. And then English changed my brain through one simple thing: tenses. I still remember being around 13 learning English for the first year. I encountered with 3 tenses: the past, the present, the future. I couldn't memorize them. And I didn't even understand why they existed. In Chinese, we can keep the verb the same. We just add a time word. For example, yesterday, today, tomorrow. So my question was, why does English need to change the verb? And here is what I realized later. Because English often cares about the state of an action. Not only did you do it or not, but where are you in the process? Started it? Still doing it? Finished it? Had done it before something else happened? Once the state is defined, communication becomes clearer. Other people instantly know what stage you are at. It's a very process-aware way of describing reality. Then French. French gave me something I didn't know I was missing. It's emotional precision. The first time I read French magazines, I noticed how often people name moods with subtle differences. Not just I feel bad, but the sadness, the regret, the disappointment, the irritation, each with a different texture. And it made me realize something uncomfortable. My emotions used to be too rough. Not because I didn't feel deeply, but because I didn't have enough words to shape what I felt. My very first dialect was mostly spoken. There is no written system. The vocabulary was simple, so when I could name something, I just carried it as pain. French helped me turn emotion into language and language into clarity. Even French grammatical gender, something I hated at first, slowly became beautiful to me because it's a way of balancing the word, the masculine and feminine. It's like form and harmony. It reminded me of the Chinese idea of balance, like Tai Chi. So when people ask me, why do you learn so many languages? I give them my honest answer, which is because I felt limits early. I often had things I wanted to say, but I couldn't find a way to say them. So I kept searching for another system, another door. I learned different languages, Japanese, English, French. Each one gave me a new angle to interpret the word, to decode the word. And now I want to go back to where this started, why I did this video. Those history textbooks. After I grew up, when I started reading in foreign languages, literatures, essays, even history, I started loving history again. Not because I suddenly became smarter, but because I changed the material. I changed the method, sometimes even changed the language. So, if you are struggling to learn something, please don't rush to conclude. My brain is broken. Don't conclude to that. Try changing the input. Try changing the tool. Try changing the doorway. Because as long as your desire to explore the world stays alive, you will find a way in. That's what I wanted to share.